Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. My name is Nick and today guys we're going to be jumping down into the world of Bitcoin. We'll be taking a look at the on-chain metrics, we'll be taking a look at the weekly time frame and what has been going on there most recently. As I get into this video, if you do find it useful and informative, smash that like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe. Tap the bell, select all the notifications, and in doing so you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. And if you haven't yet joined us in Discord, guys, you're missing a trick. Check it out, linked in the description down below. It's a fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. It's completely free and I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find down there. So why not go ahead and check it out. Let's jump right down into this one, right? So let's go down into the desktop here. What we're going to do is we're going to jump into a couple of things, right? We obviously want to be taking a look at what has been going on with the charting, but we also need to be taking a look at any updates in terms of the wallet counts, who's buying, who's selling, is there any kind of changes in there as well. So what we'll do is we'll start there with the wallet count data, okay? So here we obviously have our larger size wallets, then we've got the smaller size wallets. One of the things that is quite obvious here, or starting to kind of see a little bit of within this data, is that we're starting to see a little bit of relaxation when it comes to the krill, which is basically 0.1 Bitcoin or more. You can see how they kind of reached this plateau a little bit and they're starting to kind of cool off. Not so much FOMO right at this particular moment in time. This is also something that you can see here with a slight dip from our real small Bitcoin dust holders. This is like anyone who has over 0.01 BTC. Up here we can see that there were 11,798,227 wallets, and we take this down to 11,783,585. Okay, so we can see that there's about what 15,000 wallets approximately that no longer have 0.01 Bitcoin in them. So it's not a significant, a huge amount, but we can see over here with the krill also starting to see a little bit of a cooling off. But the shrimps still remain strong with their FOMO, continue to see this wallet increase. This is over 1 BTC per wallet, and this is currently way up here at 993,893 wallets. You see the dolphins have been a little bit emotional, kind of fluctuating a little bit, so nothing too much there to kind of note. But when we jump up into the larger sized wallets, things really are a bit rocky. We can see there's an absolute nosedive from our Bitcoin sharks, which are basically people who have over 100 BTC. Now, the thing that you got to understand here is the Bitcoin sharks, I've always likened them to people who are professional traders, right? They basically follow the price action or set the price action direction. And basically you can see here, if I actually were to shoot this backwards, let me just come into my filter. And what I'll do is I'm going to change the date range. So at the moment it's 90 days. I'm going to change this to, let's go 300 days. And apply that, right? So this is what it looks like. Up here, or down in November of 2022, we can see that there was a significant surge, right? They bought in before the pump for Bitcoin to the upside, right? And you can see that they've been slowly taking their profits into this final surge to the upside. But now they're very aggressively coming out of those positions. And we have to ask ourselves why. What did they know? What did they notice in Bitcoin's price data or sentiment or on-chain metrics? They're looking at something, right? We don't know exactly what it is, but you can see here that they are not backing this move up higher. They now think that things have reached their maximum level and they want to be out of their Bitcoin. They want to sell it over to anyone who is willing to buy it, essentially, okay? And so what we can do here is we can argue that the Bitcoin sharks are, or were, on the right side of the trade in November, December. And are they now? This is something you're going to have to ask for yourself, answer yourself. I'll ask the question though. Let me know in the comments below. Do you think that they are making a mistake by selling now? Or do you think actually they're right and selling now is actually a pretty good idea because price looks like it has to move down, right? So let me know what your thoughts are on that in the comments down below. We can see that the sharks are also kind of just fluctuating here. They move, the whales are fluctuating a little bit here. Nothing terribly too much though. It was down here at a low of 2,002 wallets, and then it moved up to about 2,024 wallets. Currently, 2016 wallets. And there's not a lot going on there from that side. The Kraken has been accumulating, is up at 121 wallets. And again, yeah, it's 10,000 Bitcoin or more. These are pretty typical kind of things that we see in the space. And these are not to give us confidence in thinking that the price action of Bitcoin is to move on up. Let me go ahead and just put this back to 90 days so I don't forget to do that later. Let's just go ahead and apply that filter there. So we know that that is there right now. If we take a look at the whales from a 365-day view, we know that they've been coming out of their positions aggressively for quite some time. Okay, so we're not bullish on looking at that kind of micro movement, right? If I come back to here in the last 90 days, it looks, oh, look, that whales are buying. Great, fantastic, right? But when you zoom out of that, you can see that they're not buying. All they're doing is really aggressively coming out and just seeing them mess around with the market at the moment. So again, there's not a lot of confidence to be brought into the market by thinking about these large institutional investors not backing the price action of BTC. So not confident looking at that as to, you know, what's going on here. I'm just waiting for the next kind of big catalyst to see whether or not these guys are going to accumulate or whether or not they are going to essentially just continue to come out of their positions. Okay, so we got to bear in mind when it comes to these whales that have over 1,000 Bitcoin per wallet, they were selling the June lows, they were selling the November lows. And I expect there to be a new lower low where eventually they will buy. I'm just not seeing how they're going to basically jump into the space with premium pricing. If they weren't buying and they were selling in November, then why would they be buying now, right? A significantly higher pricing. Okay, so the lows were $15,000 and basically people are assuming that they're going to have to buy at $27,000, $30,000. That's not how this shit works. But you know, let me know what your thoughts are on that in the comments. Instead, what we can do is we can argue and acknowledge that it's only retail money that's really propping the market up right now, and I do pull into question whether the staking for Ethereum is actually going to be a catalyst for massive selling pressure to the downside. Maybe there's a video in there somewhere, but let me know your thoughts on what you think is going to happen once everyone gets their hands on their unstaked Ethereum, because I think that could be a catalyst for a move to the downside, and this entire market could have just been kept buoyant just so that large institutional level whales of Ethereum could potentially capitalize in on buoyant prices before tanking the price to the downside. Let me know what your thoughts are on all of that. But when I take a look at these things, you know, ultimately our Kraken size wallet has been accumulating during the bear market in a very similar way as to what it was doing back in 2018. It was accumulating during the bear market before it floods that system with excess coin, basically creating an imbalance in the supply and demand metrics. And obviously where we are right now with the Kraken size wallet is not anything unusual to what we had seen previously. So caution here. A little bit is kind of what I would look at when it comes to the on-chain data. So let's come back down into our charts, right? So if our on-chain metrics are giving us a little bit of cause for concern, what is going on with our weekly timeframes? And, you know, is there something here that we need to be concerned with as well? And well, we've got the Gaussian channel. Now, historically speaking, the Gaussian channel, which is this green and red moving average, I guess like channel that you kind of see, this is historically being very accurate at predicting bull markets and bear markets. However, considering the economic climate, I'm very confused as to whether or not this is now going to become invalid and we can put a pin in the Gaussian channel or not, or whether or not, you know, there's no new lower lows. These fair value gaps are just going to get left behind and we're never going to come and fill them, and price is going to the moon. Okay, there's one of two things that's going to happen. Now, historically speaking, closing inside this Gaussian channel up here, right, closing in here, has been a bullish tell. This is basically telling us that we're going into a bull market, historically speaking. I think, however, we've got new variable data, and I've been through this a dozen times, that is signaling actually that maybe things are not as they seem historically speaking, and maybe the history is going to have to be rewritten here so that we get new ways of moving forward, because right now it doesn't give me confidence considering the wider economic climate versus, you know, what we're seeing inside of the price chart. I think that the economy in general is in a really bad way. The US dollar is in a really bad way. We can see that a lot of other countries are no longer wanting to trade with dollars. And so when we kind of look at the price action, we think about what's going on with the price action. Things just don't seem to kind of stack up with what is going on in the economy. So not only do we have that, but we also do have some different things that have occurred on the charts that hadn't happened previously. The most noteworthy is the fib levels that we've retraced down into. Okay, so historically speaking, Bitcoin has never dropped down lower than the 1.236. That's this level just here. Okay, and if I draw a line on that level right there, you can see it was 19,325. Bitcoin in Bitcoin's history had never gone down out of a three-wave structure lower than 1.236. Yet on this particular occasion, we can note that we came down very close to the 1.618 down here. Okay, and this is the first time in Bitcoin's history it's ever done this. Okay, and now that's a big shift, considering that the Fibonacci numbers are really key to the psychology and behavior of people. We have to consider that this is a new piece of data that we've never seen before and actually ties in quite nicely with what is going on in the economy and also what we see with the on-chain data. Okay, we cannot just blindly ignore these key things that are happening here. Now, there's not many ways that we can look at an indicator and give you an indication that, you know, things are bearish or bullish, because I think a lot of those are getting invalidated, and we're going to see a lot more of that in due course. Yet, when we have a Fibonacci level, we can actually associate the behavior of people to the Fibonacci numbers, and what we can articulate here is that things have vastly different than what they were previously. So we're not repeating ourselves by any stretch of the imagination. And what we do see is a bit of a bear market rally, in my opinion. Now, my big concern, and I said it before, and I can say it again, is that I would much rather just move down to 18,000 to 11,000, be done with it there. However, we have the ability here to maybe push up towards our equilibrium area just here, okay, around $34,000, $35,000. And in doing so, we do create a very bearish situation that would look like this, taking us down way lower than $10,000. And it would take a very long time to play out, in my opinion, probably all of the rest of this year, and maybe even a little bit of 2024. Okay, so we have to kind of consider that everything that's going on with the on-chain metrics, who's buying, who's selling, the flow of money, following them big money, and it's not coming into the space, it's exiting the space, all the way through to the Fibonacci numbers, the patterns in the candlesticks themselves. There's a lot going on here that give me a lot of ground for concern, rather than, you know, euphoria, thinking that we're going to the moon. Now, don't get me wrong, if the US dollar does crumble, then we are probably going to be seeing a significant surge in the USD-based pairings, where we see, and in fact, we did see something recently with USDC. When USDC depegged, we saw the USDC Bitcoin pairs going up in price. We saw that you needed more USDC to buy Bitcoin, right? And I think we're going to see the same thing if something really does crumble around that USD. If the USD all of a sudden starts to get devalued against other assets, we're going to see that you need more of that USD to buy those assets. And so as we look at this, we have to consider that actually when we take a look at all that data on chain, we take a look at all those fundamental things happening in the economy, we take a look at the ability to see the dollar being unstable, we might see a surge in price against the USD pairs, but we might not see that surge when it comes to other currencies as well. So we have to be really cautious in this market. We can't just think $1 million Bitcoin, fantastic, I'll sell my Bitcoin for $1 million, because you're just probably not going to want that million USD. But, you know, if we do look at it against other pairs, whether that's your euro, the Japanese yen, all the way through to you know, pound sterling, for example, you're going to be different pricing depending on what currency that you're looking at kind of trading with. So we've got to be really cautious in this market. I don't think we're in a bullish market right now. I don't think we have the data to support it. I definitely don't have the volume that we had previously in 2019. We definitely don't have the sentiment around the Fibonacci numbers that we had previously. And ultimately, the structures give me a lot of ground for concern. But let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments below. Do you think that Bitcoin is on track for a new higher high? Maybe end of this year, beginning of next? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. If you found this useful and informative, smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. And if you haven't joined us in Discord, guys, you'll check it out. You're missing a trick. Linked in the description below. Until the next one though, guys, have a fantastic day.
We are not financial advisors. None of what we have communicated verbally or in writing here should be considered as financial advice. It is not. Do your own research before investing in any digital asset or affiliate offers, and understand that investing in any crypto is risky. If you do, you need to be prepared to risk your entire investment. This video is for information and entertainment purposes only. All our videos are strictly personal opinions. opinions. Please make sure you do your own research and never take our opinions for financial guidance. There are multiple strategies, and not all strategies fit all people. Our videos are not financial advice.